Good morning. We are getting pretty close to our number of folks that have signed up. We had 28 for the morning session.
Perfect. Thanks, Amy. I'll give it another minute or so and then get going.
Yeah, perfect. Just kind of like a note about like we are slowly reaching quorum, and this is always lovely and good to see everyone. Of note, this call is recorded so that other people who could not make it here can watch both the morning and the afternoon sessions, because there may be different questions in either. So don't say anything you wouldn't say in a recording that everybody might see. The end.
We have a good number here, so we can wait another 2 minutes, probably until 5 minutes.
Okay, we're creeping towards that 5-minute mark. How do we feel about getting going with the preliminary slides and just some introductions, and then we'll get into the meat of it after 5. Does that sound good?
Come on, go ahead.
Cool. Okay, so hey guys, I'm Mary Kate. I'm your main point of contact over here at Bevy. I'm a customer success manager, and I'm really excited to be walking you through Bevy and all the work your team's put into getting this launched. I'm joined today by my colleague Ruchi, who handled onboarding. Ruchi, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Mary Kate. Hey, everyone. My name is Ruchi. I'm product manager on the Bevy side, and was working with CNCF to really get you guys off the ground. And Mary Kate is your sort of main point of contact now. So I'm just here in the background. I'll be in the chat monitoring any questions that come in. But yeah, happy to be here.
Yep, and so Rich will be in the chat. And we've also got Amy and Ihor. If you guys could also keep an eye on the chat as I'll be demoing. Please feel free to interrupt me if it feels like it's kind of relevant to what we're going on, like in the moment, if it'll help clarify a point or make something make more sense. But also we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So if it's something that's kind of a different type of question, please feel free to throw it in the chat and we'll try to cover everything at the end or in a follow-up. This is the live demo. There is also going to be one later today for people in other time zones. And we will be recording both sessions, as I think Amy mentioned. So we'll be sharing that out after. So if you don't remember every single word I say today, that's not a problem. It'll be in the recording as well. Okay, so just starting off in terms of, again, post this event, where you'll be able to go for support and for help. You can always email help@bevy.com. I'll be monitoring it. We have other members of our team who member it at different hours of the day. So we try to turn around responses quickly. And this is for any questions that you have, any feedback, requests, or any issues that you're encountering. Really, kind of anything can be directed there. Number 2 is help.bevylabs.com. This is our self-serve help article and support resource. So if you think it's probably a pretty common question or like a, where's this button? What kind of emails can I send? Anything that you want just more general information on that's less specific to your immediate use case, you'll be able to find that immediately right there at help.bevylabs.com. And then we have our release notes. So if you are interested to see what we're releasing every single month, I can send this slide deck along, or you can just within help.bevylabs.com search for release notes and sign up for them there, or just keep an eye on them as well. Okay, we'll now go through some key terms and some jargon to make sure we're on the same page before hopping into the demo. So first key term is, what is the dashboard? I'll be saying that a lot. That is your organizer or admin view of Bevy that you'll see on the back end that the rest of the attendees or maybe chapter members are not going to have access to. We'll spend a lot of time during the demo going through what you can do there and that functionality. A chapter is an independent group with a specific location. So pre-virtual events, of course, it's tied to a geography. What is an event? It's a one-time occasion, either virtually or in person, and it takes place within a chapter and caters to a specific group of attendees in that specific chapter. A user is anyone who signs in for an account on community.cncf.io. An attendee is a user who has registered for an event. So in order to register for an event, they'll be prompted to make a user password. It's a very lightweight form. So a user then becomes an attendee. And a chapter member is a user who joins a chapter and receives newsletters, announcements, and attend events. You want to prompt all attendees who are interested in becoming chapter members because they'll get your more marketing or newsletter type emails as well then. And lastly, we've got a chapter team. So that's a set of users that manages a chapter. You've got two permissions within the chapter team. One is lead organizer like yourselves. And you can also designate someone check-in staff if they're assisting with the event. So they'll have a less robust set of permissions than you will. Any questions on this before we hop into the demo?
Nothing from chat. Go ahead.
Cool, looks great. Okay, so first thing we're going to see here is just a community.cncf.io. You'll see at the top that I'm in my organizer account, and therefore I have a dashboard. We're going to spend some more time there later. Of course, a person who is just casually perusing the site is not going to see that. Here at the top, you can see I can log out. I'm already logged in. I have my account and I have a more limited nav view. This is where someone would also be able to log in or create their account at the top right. You can see it's really nicely branded, got some information about the broader community and upcoming events. You can search for a city here. It is also going to surface events that are closer to you in location. So I am currently in Austin, and you can see I've got 4 different Austin events that have been surfaced up to me here, but I can search for other cities as well, especially in this world of virtual events. We'll get a little more into how you can find those events in a minute. You can also search for a chapter here, whereas the search bar is going to show you different events. This is going to show you the chapters. And this is an up-to-date, geolocation map. So this is based on where chapters are located. If you were to add a new chapter somewhere else, it would show up on this map here. You can explore by region. So if you want to see, okay, who's in the Asia Pacific, I can go ahead and see my list of chapters there. And we'll come back to that a little bit. I think in this new kind of virtual event landscape, it's a nice way to be able to search for this events here under this tab, because this is going to show you events regardless of location. So I can search in a list here. I can say, okay, I want to see online events, and I can still do a city or region if I want to. Or I can filter per calendar, and I can show within my time zone instead of the chapter's time zone. So I can see, okay, maybe it's not the exact same time zone, but it's close enough, and I can go to see that event remotely. So I can see everything that's showing up here. And of course, the 2 different types of events that you're chosen to have are meetup and online event. So I can see what those look like. We've already got a lot of events pre-populated here from the meetup integration. So they've been loaded back into your Bevy accounts. So you can see what's going on. Okay, any questions about those 2 views or this pages? I think it's pretty straightforward, but I want to make sure I'm pausing. Okay, so now I'm back in the chapters view. I'm going to drill down. I'm going to visit this chapter. If chapters, you guys are choosing to use the sub-chapter functionality. So some subgroups are hosted within a broader kind of container chapter. The container chapters don't necessarily host events, but it's just a regional bucket for different events, different groups that are in the same region. So I can click into the cloud native. Bevy is localized, so the dashboard is always going to be in English, but you can see that it's immediately asked me if I want to translate it to English based on where I'm located. You can see that there are 7 group members, and this is like a chapter's page. It's their hub, it's their source of truth for different events that they're having. We'll see what it looks like on the back end later, but from a user experience, I could go ahead and join. I've got this about blurb with information about that specific chapter, some images they chose to upload. You can see my upcoming events. This is online, some information about it. And then you can see my past events. And then the organizers. You can choose whether or not organizers are going to be visible or not also within the settings. So you could have more organizers like this who are not visible on the chapter page. And this contact us button is going to be sent to anyone who's visible here. So again, if you don't want to be sent to the contact us emails, you could just choose not to be visible, but have someone else be in charge of that and be the visible organizers. Okay.
So there are some questions in chat. I think the biggest one right now is Jimmy, you've had a conversation about, I've grouped the cloud native and service mesh community in China. How can I map the group on the website? So I think going back to the mapping thing would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Sure.
in terms of chapters, this is going to be on the back end, so I can hop into the dashboard and discuss that. So I just navigated right into the dashboard. I only have access to my 2 test chapters. Whatever chapters you have access to will be right here. Let's say I go to Central City, which is a chapter that I'm an admin on, and I go into settings. If I scroll down, this location is the source of truth for that. So if you want them to be like subchapters, this information needs to match. So this location is going to automatically pre-populate some of this information. Does that answer that question, or is it something that I'm missing in the piece of context I don't understand? I'll check the chat quick.
Okay. Jimmy says, thanks. You're also allowed to unmute and ask your questions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make sure we cover everything. And again, if it's, we can save it to the end or we can cover it now. I want to make sure everything's clear.
Yep. There was a second question about this platform is generating the data from meetup.com, right?
Yep. We're going to go over the Meetup integration. It is
perfect.
Yeah, we'll go over that. Cool. So I'm going to go into a specific event that I created and show you how to RSVP just to round out the experience from a member or an attendee, just to show you what that looks like before we go spend some more time under the hood where you guys will be spending more of your time on the dashboard. So we're in a specific virtual event for this test chapter that I created just for this. You can see I've uploaded a custom banner. It's not specifically CNCF, it's Bevy, but you can upload different images here. There will also be some pre-populated for you. And then you can go ahead and RSVP. So it's got the ability to share on different social channels. So I want to say, hey, I'm checking out this event. You want to tweet about it, you can do it right there. You can RSVP. You can hear a little bit more about the event, see the organizers, and of course, contact us. So I'm going to go and RSVP to this. Interesting. Rooch, maybe we change this when we change the type of RSVP.
Yeah. Can you try it again?
Yep. Refreshing. There we go. Cool. So I'm going to say my name. And I can also sign up to the chapter. I can choose to ask to be a featured attendee. You as the organizer have the ability to accept people to be featured attendees or decline. This is a nice feature if there's someone that you know is kind of like an important community member, you want to introduce someone to that person or have them be featured on the event website, you can go ahead and let this happen. They can upload an image. I'm not going to request to become a featured attendee because it's got a lot of information there. And I can also join the virtual event here, which we'll come back to in a minute. Any questions about that RSVP screen? It's a pretty lightweight set of questions. It's just an email and a name, so it's really easy for people to sign up. There's no barriers there. As a organizer, you also can check in attendees right from here. This is more for in-person events. You can view the list of attendees, you can edit the event, or go to your broader dashboard. So I'm just going to click right into Edit Event. And I'm brought right to the details of the event that I choose to set up. Again, here I can see different chapters that I'm a member of. So since I'm an organizer, I can also see Gotham. There's not a lot going on there. So I'm going to navigate right to Central again. And it's going to bring me directly, whenever I navigate to this chapter, to that Events tab. You can see up here, this is the only live event I have. So live means either currently happening or upcoming. Draft would be anything that I've created but have not published yet. Completed is a list of all of my past events. I can hop in and learn more about them. And then canceled, pretty straightforward, an event you created but opted not to go forward with. On the completed events, something you'll be able to see that is different from your live events is this wrap up tab. So if you've recorded something in Bevy Virtual, which we'll go over, it's our native video platform, the video recording will be right here. And then you can choose to add a featured video, so maybe a YouTube of what's happened at the event, a slide deck. You can upload any pictures from the event or any screen grabs, anything you want to highlight. And this will all be shown on that screen, like that post-event screen on your community page. So someone clicks into past events, they can see this wrap up, or you can share the video with everyone who went by just sending out that link and saying, you know, hey, check out our past event if you want to recap what happened during the meeting. How are we doing on questions? Anything so far?
I think we're good.
Cool. Okay, so something else I can do here is I can navigate directly to my event page. I can edit the event page. There's a few different ways to do that, or I can copy the event. So if I have a past event or a live event and I know I'll be having that one regularly, I can copy it so I'm not starting from scratch again. When I'm going to create an event, I have two options. A meetup is probably going to be less relevant for you all right now, but in the future, it's good to know. Pretty similar information, title, description, ability to show it on chapter pages. Hidden events are great if you do want to have some sort of an event that is a limited guest list, or you don't want it to show up anywhere, and then you would need the URL to access it. So if you want to do a small roundtable, just a couple of people, and you want to use the platform to keep record of it, you can go ahead and make it hidden or uncheck that on a non-test chapter, and then it'll be public on your website. Showing events on the chapter page, again, you can show it or not on that public page. Social sharing, and then allowing automated emails. You're typically going to want to do this, and we'll get more into what those emails are later on. Your team has already preloaded in an event banner and a thumbnail. If you want to get really creative, you can change this out, but it's already coming pre-branded, so it's going to look nice the way it is. For the schedule and agenda, you can set the date. For the list of activities, you can add multiple days if this spans a couple of different days, or if it's just one, you can put in what the schedule and agenda is going to be. You can also auto-populate, and it's going to guess some things that I might want to have. So I'm going to get rid of the fireside chat. I'll say keynote. And now I have a several-hour-long event that's going to happen, and I can modify it from here. Or I can manually add my new items. And then for a venue name, this is going to get smarter over time, but for now I can just put in whatever the physical location is. Most of you, I imagine, are going to be primarily having virtual event for the time being. So if I go in and create an online event, it's going to be a similar workflow. Going to hit some character limits. The short description is going to be displayed as a blurb on chapter pages and newsletters. The event description is displayed on the event page, so when you click in, it's that larger paragraph. Again, same hidden events, same preloaded event photos, and the same scheduling. So you can do the same kind of information here. The difference is that instead of a physical location, of course, you're going to have the option to add in your virtual event platform. You've got two choices here. One is to add a virtual or an external URL. So I could put in a Zoom link, Google link, whatever kind of event you're hosting it on. But Bevy actually has a native video platform that we recommend you use. Regardless of what you use, there is a virtual event permalink. This will be sent out via email and a ticket confirmation automatically to anyone who registers for your event. And then regardless, maybe you start with a Zoom link, but you realize you want to use Bevy Virtual, the permalink will help whoever's accessing it access to the event, even if you update the Zoom link 3 or 4 times for whatever reason. It's the same user experience. So they'll be able to access your meeting. And then you can also add instructions if there's password, if there's any information that's going to be important for them, you can go ahead and do that. Okay. So the next screen that you're going to be brought to is people. This is where you can add speakers. So you can search for someone if you know that they've spoken at an event before. So John here is the speaker. I can add a new speaker to my list. So I can say, I'm also speaking. Go ahead and add some information there. Upload an image, share resources, and save that person. I don't have permission, but I would be able to add myself as a speaker or just add other people that have been part of the list. You can also add mentors, facilitators, panelists, judges, moderators, or hosts, depending on what kind of event that you're hosting. Okay. Partners are what we consider at Bevy, not someone who's financially like a sponsor, but someone who maybe has provided a location, food, something for your event that you want to highlight. You'll be able to search from the list of partners or go ahead and add a new partner. So if you add them one time, they'll be easy to add to a page going forward. And then next, you've got the RSVPs. You can set multiple types of ticket types. You could do like a pre-order if you want to give some people early access. And then you could add just a normal RSVP. Different options here. And you can also set the maximum capacity so that even if you've got multiple ticket types with more, I could add 200 of each of these types. But if I say there's only 250 tickets available in the capacity, it'll make it sold out. Okay. When I go to publish the event, this is part of where the Meetup integration comes into play. I can immediately, using this checkbox, send it to Meetup. I don't want to do that, but it's going to ask me to do that not only when I publish it, but also when I make any changes. So if I were to change the name of this event to test event 2, and go back and publish, maybe it's because I didn't check it off initially, but it would usually ask me if I wanted to update that name in Meetup. Meetup also syncs with the guest list. So if someone were to RSVP on Meetup, they would show up within Bevy, and their analytics from Meetup are also going to show up in Bevy as well. And you can see if they're a guest that RSVP'd in Meetup because they'll have that little M Meetup logo next to their name in the attendee list. So you can see here, since I registered for this other event, now that I've created an event and I've got it live, you can see that I've got 2 attendees and 0 check-ins. If you use Bevy Virtual, it's going to automatically check people in when they go to sign into the event. So you'll see who attended versus who signed up. For in-person events, you'll be able to manually add someone here. So if they show up at the door, but they haven't pre-registered, you can manually add them here. There's also an app for checking people in. So I would recommend downloading that once we're back in, in real life kind of meetings. And then you can just automatically check people in using that app. You can export your list of attendees using a CSV or PDF, and you can also just choose to check someone in here if you know that they showed up. You can edit, resend the ticket email if they're saying, hey, I don't see the information, you can go and do that or delete them. Any questions here? I'll check the
There's a question in chat about if we use the Bevy link and we have it recorded. If yes, can people download it as well for offline view?
You can record it and it'll show up in your wrap up. So that's where it'll show up in that event wrap up tab. So let's say I want to go to a completed event. Sorry, I'm moving everything around on my screen. This wrap up section, the video recording will be right here. And then you can choose to do whatever you want with it. So you could download it, add it to this featured video, add it to YouTube, whatever you want to do. Okay. Any other questions on that? Okay, I'll go through a couple more things on the event since this is probably where you're going to spend most of your time within Bevy. So you can again check the attendees, go back to editing the event, adding any of this information after the fact. You can go to forms. So this is a form that will be sent out to users after they attend the event. You can do a post an event or pre-order form. So post event, I could go ahead and add a new field. I could say, modify it and choose what kind of an answer type it's going to be. So I could say multiple choice, yes, no, and I can make it required or not required. So I can make this as robust as I want to collect different information after I'm having the event and choose to save it. Discounts probably is not super relevant for you guys since I don't think most of you are using paid ticketing. You can also do a waitlist feature. This is pretty straightforward, but if you have different ticket types or even one ticket type, you can choose to set up a waitlist based on, okay, I've sold the 50 tickets for this pre-order. I can make a waitlist from there, and that would be set up here. Featured attendees, as I mentioned earlier, someone when they're signing up, anyone can choose to be considered to be a featured attendee. Ruchi signed up earlier for the event and she's pending. She wants to be featured. I can just go ahead and click feature. And now she's going to show up on the website for the event as a featured attendee. And I could just save that. Okay. How are we doing? Any other questions on the? Okay, cool. Looks like we're good. I'm going to go ahead and quickly, it seems like we've got a lot of questions on the virtual feature. I know that's something we really wanted to cover, like the video platform. So I'm going to hop into that and we can look at what that would be like. So I'm now on the event page. This is hosted through Bevy Virtual. So I'm going to go ahead. I think I RSVP'd already. Okay, and so it's now join virtual event here. Again, they'll also be emailed that link automatically. And so I can click in and join the event. Within Bevy Virtual, there are a couple of different levels of access. There is the host and an attendee. An attendee is going to be most people. Hosts are going to be you as a chapter organizer and anyone else that you choose to grant that permission to. So I can go ahead and I'm also, as a host, able to enter presenter mode. So this gives me a V and the ability to share my screen. So I can either dismiss it or enable it. I'm going to enable it. I'm now a presenter. I have the ability to do this. So this is agnostic of whether or not you're a host. I can give it to other people as well. So I can unmute. I can start my video. It's a little meta. I can share my screen and I can start recording. I have the chat. I can go ahead and say, send an emoji. I can moderate my attendees. So if there were more of me in here, I would have to see them all listed out here, starting with hosts and then going down to attendees. I can mute them. I can change their video and I can give them presenter mode on or off, video off, unmute. I can also moderate the chat. I can delete this message and I can moderate what other people are doing and delete other messages. We are currently working on breakout rooms that should be launched within the next week or so. So that'll be a cool rollout as you guys are starting to use this. You'll see that there. And of course, once you start recording and stop recording, those will all be added to that wrap up tab. How are we doing? Any questions on what I just showed you with Bevy Virtual?
Doesn't look like it. Lots of stuff in chat about like Meetup and how that all works, but nothing about virtual stuff right now, unless anybody's got other questions in here that I've missed. Something about video. Can we publish to other platforms from Bevy Virtual, i.e. publish to YouTube? And the answer was you can download the files, you can upload it anywhere.
Yep. And it'll just be available right in Bevy. So again, that Meetup tab, or once the event is over, there'll be a wrap up tab here, and that's where the video is going to live. Okay. This is really great also because we've been seeing Bevy Virtual be a really good tool because you don't have to download anything. So it's really easy to access since it is browser based. So people who maybe have trouble with Zoom or something that's more robust, you can just, it's pretty easy to access. Cool. Any other questions that we want to tackle right now, or do we want to come back to some of the Meetup stuff? Or is it more specific? Okay, we'll hop into that later. We can get more in the weeds, just chatting, seeing the chat about the Meetup stuff. Cool. So that's pretty much the meat of the events section of Bevy, where you're going to spend a lot of your time. The last part of that is emails. When I click on emails from an event, I'm brought directly into a pre-filtered view for that specific event, the emails that are relating to it. So you can see there are these 2 scheduled emails. These are automatically going to go out. One is a 48-hour reminder to attendees, and the other is a new event published for chapter members to let them know that I've published that event. I've also saved a draft of a test newsletter. Outside of automated events or automated emails, you can send newsletters to your chapter member. So I can click to send that new email, the top right button, and I can say who it's from. So sender email. I can choose the audience. We have a deep dive into what all of these different audiences mean in our help center. So if you're ever curious for more specifics, you can do that. But you can say, okay, I want to do attendees who did not check in, or chapter members who haven't RSVP'd yet for the event to let them know that the event's coming up, or just all chapter members. I can choose my subject line. I can choose to highlight the upcoming events natively here, or I can say, okay, I don't want that highlighted, so I'm just going to show this one. Add sponsors to that email, partners, etc. So I can do a few different things. I can save this as a draft. I can send a test to myself, or I can preview. So first I'm going to go ahead and save it. And now that I've saved it, I can go ahead and preview it in my browser. So you can see my lovely email here. It's highlighting this event. It's got my text, and any sponsors would show up here as well. Newsletters are different from automated emails in that newsletters are something that can be unsubscribed from. They're considered more like marketing emails, as opposed to your more functional emails like a system email that's transactional around the tickets that have been, you get a ticket, you get an email that cannot be unsubscribed from. So that's, if it's something really important, make sure it's in one of those automated emails. Any questions about that? Yep, once you download, sorry, I'm seeing that streaming question for Bevy Virtual. If you want to, it's the same as anything. You can download the video and upload it to a different function, even if it's not YouTube. Okay. So next we're going to walk through some other pieces of the Dash. Events and emails are where we just spent a lot of our time. So next I want to go through members. It's pretty straightforward. Right now there are no chapter members for Central City, but this is just a list of the people who are members of your chapter, their name, email, date joined, and events registered for. And you can export this as a CSV. From a security standpoint, as an organizer, you can see someone's name, but not their email. So that'll also be blurred out just for privacy and of data. In terms of settings, this is where you can control everything for your chapter page, so that public facing view. So you've got the title of your chapter, about, you can include more information, your location information, chapter status, you're going to be an active chapter, theoretically, region. Again, a lot of this is grayed out because this is a test chapter. So you can see here it is both hidden and a test chapter to exclude it from data, but you will not have that same problem. So you'll be able to, update your region, any information here, update your logo or your banner. You can also feature a video. So this is going to be, just a YouTube video. You can keep your social channels here. And so if I go ahead and view this chapter, I can see my about, upcoming events, those past events, my organizers, all those photos that I've got uploaded, the video, etc. So the photos are here in this next tab. And then my team is where I modify that chapter team. So let's say I don't want to be visible, I can uncheck this box. Okay. Next is sponsors. So if you did, for whatever reason, have anyone who is giving you cash for services or promotions, you could go ahead and upload them here. A sponsor can only be added with an invoice, so you can add an invoice here as well and keep track of them. and then partners. So this is, again, non-cash services. So if they provide something like venue, food, or promotion, you can go ahead and feature them here on your chapter page, not just on your event page. But anyone that's added to this would be available to be added to the specific event that they're sponsoring. Okay, last but not least, we've got analytics. So this is going to be your chapter specific dashboard with those analytics. Again, you'll be able to see analytics from Meetup, so that data will sync with Bevy. I can download any of my data that will eventually be populated here as a CSV. So you can see the number of events they're going to have coming up, and I can set dates. So I can say, okay, by quarter, I can filter. You can track your attendees as well over time. Again, you have the ability to download, to filter by different sections of time, so daily, monthly, quarterly, or yearly. And then you can see number totals of attendees, meetup RSVPs, check-ins, unique attendees, and manual attendees. And then averages as well. Different tickets if you're tracking revenue, which I don't think is going to be as relevant. Different ticket types. So if you are doing those like pre-orders or some sort of like different type of event ticket, you can track that here. Any sponsors as well. Okay. Any questions here? Okay. Cool. So that's pretty much the entirety of the dashboard and what you're going to have access to. We made some pretty good time here. So if there's, happy to kind of pivot to Q&A. If you've got any questions for me or Ruchi, we can kind of tackle anything that's top of mind.
There's a question in here about, can we transfer photos from the Meetup platform?
I don't know, Ruchi, can you touch on that? Would it be just adding, do you mean like ask, like part of the integration, or can you like download a photo from Meetup and upload it to Bevy?
I think a bunch of us have updated, as you have events on Meetup, you add photos from the event.
Mm-hmm.
And so those, in the same way there's members and their information, there's going to be photos associated with events that we've had in the past.
Got it.
Yeah, you can add photos to the wrap-up tab.
So is the question in regard to like past events that have been brought over from Meetup, or like?
Yeah, I think the question's about importing those photos that are on the Meetup platform currently.
I think we need some more information to really get you a good answer. So if you could just email us at help@bevy.com with some more details, I'll be able to give you a better answer there.
Cool.
We've made a question about copying, duplicating events from subchapters. Like we are having some events in spare parts in Brazil, and we are trying to gather everybody. So like someone organizes this in Recife or Salvador, and we just want to copy this from one event to the other. Is that possible?
You can't copy events from different chapters, but for that, I would recommend using the external ticketing feature. If you look up on our Help Center for external ticketing, you can create a new event in each chapter and essentially link out to one central event. But you cannot copy an event.
Thank you.
Yep.
I'll throw it in the chat. Cool. Anything else top of mind or that we can help with? Cool. So that just about wraps up our demo with some time back in your day. If you do have any questions or anything more specific, we're happy to get into it. Please email us at help@bevy.com. Richie just threw it in the chat, and we'll get back to you fairly quickly with a response and to troubleshoot anything that comes up. So we'll also, of course, be recording this one and recording the one later today. So we'll be able to send those out as well and share them with you. everyone. Well, thanks for your time today. Looking forward to getting you all onboarded with Bevy.